Now, I've got to be honest, the Sunday afternoon, I was very tempted to watch the North London derby for some entertainment value. But did I? Of course I didn't. I watched Chelsea lose abysmally to Aston Villa at home, 1-0. 10 men, absolute shambles of a result. The expectations and the bar are low for Chelsea at this point. I have pretty much gone into every game ever since losing to Nottingham Forest with just trying to search for positives and trying to just hope that we can hang on and get a point at the very least if we don't win games and if we don't score goals. And that's pretty much how this game looked like it was going to pan out. I was optimistic. I thought we would get to the 90-minute mark. I didn't think we would concede when we had 11 men on the pitch. But Malo Gusto getting sent off, Chelsea 10 men. Chelsea can't score with 11 men. So the fact that we went down to 10 and then conceded, Ollie Watkins, superb finish. But it just piles on more misery and it's just getting worse and worse. And it's becoming really difficult to watch Chelsea when the results are not going our way and the performances are not going our way. I want to get into this Chelsea performance and sort of assess this game. But before I do so, guys, if you can like this video, it would be a massive help. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Leave a comment. Voice your frustrations. Voice your thoughts. I want to hear them. Let's get into it. This performance really was far from ideal. I think of this easy run of games that Chelsea was supposed to have, and how we were potentially going to pick up some good points and we could go on a run before November comes around, where we've got the likes of City, Arsenal, Brentford, Newcastle, all the top 6 teams pretty much sandwiched in to the November and just before Christmas matches. This was the time where we were going to sort of find out a bit about this team and, you know, perhaps the pressure would be off. And of course, that's not the case, is it? We know that this Chelsea team is really lacking cohesion, really lacking that killer instinct in front of goal in the final third. And that was the case again today, as it is every game watching Chelsea at the moment. Nothing is changing in that department. I felt that we showed some good moments, to good passages of play, good build-up play, but just that getting the ball out of our feet seems to be a problem. I thought there were some players that really, once again, need to be more killer with their final decision making. They need to be shooting on sight. They need to be creating clear-cut opportunities. If you look at Ollie Watkins' goal, he had no right to score that goal, and most would say he had no right to shoot from there, but he did, and it went in. Fortunately, it came back to him off a Levi Colwill ricochet, but the fact that he took that shot on again, surprised the keeper with the angle. Perhaps Sanchez could have done better. I thought he had a good game overall. We'll get into that, but at the end of the day, Ollie Watkins took a shot on that he had no right on scoring. And I just feel that Chelsea, in so many occasions, are in those positions. Maybe we are when, you know, the forward is a bit too wide and he wants to square it in, or he wants to cut it back. Just take a shot. The keeper could make a mistake. It could ricochet off a defender and go in. You might just get some incredible luck and some great accuracy, and it might go in the top bins or the bottom corner. You've got to take your chances. And I just thought that with this sort of frustration going around Chelsea, and obviously the narrative is that we can't score goals, I just thought these players would just feel a bit more entitlement to shoot on sight, to be encouraged to do so. I don't think anyone is going to be frustrated with shots on goal. And in the first half, Villa had more shots on goal than Chelsea, and that was worrying considering the amount of possession that we had. But let's have a look at this lineup. Let's have a look at how Pochettino set up against Villa. Now, he's gone back to the back 4. This seems to be consistent now. I think he's feeling far more comfortable having a solid back 4, and he's put Levi Colwill as left back. Obviously, you know, Chilwell, who's occupied that position, has been quite far forward when he's been utilised, but I think Pochettino has now reverted back to a back 4. Colwill as sort of a, you know, unconventional left back, but he's clearly prioritising defence over attack, and he wants Colwill in that position to be more of an astute defender and snuff out any attacks and make some good tackles where Chilwell was perhaps lacking. And then, of course, Thiago Silva and Disasi, they seem to be the 2 central big men there. Thiago Silva, I think, was very unfortunate to give the ball away when Aston Villa did break and score. You know, it's hard to criticise Silva. He was unlucky. You know, I think if he could replay that again, he'd bring the man down, he'd make a better decision. But ultimately, it was his mistake that sort of cost us there. But overall, he had a good game. I thought he was, positioned well. Everything we know about Thiago Silva, he showed some signs of that today. And I thought he was good except for that. But it's hard to sort of look beyond him for that mistake there. That was a difficult one to swallow. Disasi, once again, I'm not entirely convinced still. I just think, while he does offer a lot of strength and physicality, he does seem to be a bit rash in his decision making. His passes can be a bit stray. He can get sort of found out of position every now and then. He clearly is a goal scoring threat. We almost saw him score if it wasn't for the offside flag. But again, I can't wait to see Badiashile in that position, or even Chalobah. I know there's lots of talk around Chalobah, or Wesley Fofana when he's back next season. I don't think Disasi is the strongest in this position, but hard to fault him per se for the result today. Gusto now, Malo Gusto has been having a blinding few games for Chelsea. I think he's been brilliant. I think he's a great tackler. I think he shows a real hunger and desire to win the ball back, and Chelsea fans have seen that, noticed that, and have applauded it and encouraged it. Now the red card is a harsh one for me. I felt like he wins the ball firstly, but he does follow through. His studs are up, he lunges a bit, and the more you watch it, sort of when you watch it in real time, it looks bad. When you see it slow-mo, you can see he's gone for the ball first and he's took the man after, but it was the nail in the coffin today, really, because that was where we lost this game. Going down to 10 men, we never looked like it. Even though we created some great chances that I'm going to get onto that we definitely should have took. We had potential to equalise, but Chelsea going down 1-0, so late in the second half, it was very unlikely we were going to pull it back with 10 men on the pitch. We didn't have a plan. The personnel that did come on did not really change the game, in Gusto's absence, and didn't really work for us. But Malo Gusto, that sending off has really killed the game, and I'm sure he'll be watching that back and realise that perhaps he shouldn't have lunged off the ground so much. It wasn't a must-win challenge, and I guess this is the kind of temperament that a young team lacks, and you can see that from all over the pitch at the moment. There are question marks around temperament in this Chelsea team, getting silly yellow cards, red cards. It's just not conducive to us winning games and trying to get points, because we are already struggling in front of goal when opportunities arise. We don't need to be making silly mistakes, going down to 10 men. The game was killed from there. Malo Gusto, unfortunately, made a big error and cost us the game today, along with that sort of Thiago Silva mistake. So the defence did not cover themselves in glory today whatsoever. We played Moises Caicedo and Conor Gallagher once again in that midfield, who I thought were pretty decent. I really liked Caicedo for this game. I am looking for positives in Caicedo. I'm not putting the 100 million price tag over his name. I'm not scrutinising his performance. I thought he caressed the ball lovely today. I thought he made some really good passes, switching it between the flanks, getting the play going, making some really good challenges as well. Tackles that he shouldn't have been winning, he did win. Sometimes they were given for fouls, but he was breaking up play. He was doing that N'Golo Kante role, albeit a bit more, a bit more thuggish, but, he got down to it. He gets the nitty gritty done and he makes big tackles. And I liked the way he also progressed Chelsea forward by making some great forward passes. I was pleased with Caicedo's performance today, and I was also pleased with Conor Gallagher's performance, especially defensively. Now, I think Conor Gallagher will be looking over his shoulder when Lavia is fit in that area. I'm a true believer that Lavia and Caicedo are going to partner in that midfield. But Gallagher's making a case for himself defensively. He's got fight, he's got hunger, he runs the hard yards. He made some great challenges today. He won the ball cleanly many occasions. I was very impressed with Gallagher. It's just going forward and taking shots and making the right passes when Chelsea are in front of goal and need that quick decision making. He just lacks it. That's where he's flat-footed. He could have laid off a great pass to Cole Palmer when Palmer came on in the second half. It was just a bad pass that was in front of him. He just lacks that sharpness when going forward. He likes to have a lot of time on the ball. When he's got time on the ball, he's brilliant, but You're not going to get that. Teams are going to press you. Teams are going to, get back, low block, and you need to be quicker with your pass when you do receive the ball. And that's my only criticism of Conor Gallagher at this point. He doesn't do that quick enough for me. But overall, I thought he had a good game, and was, Chelsea captain. I thought he was the sort of the heartbeat of that initial 30-40 minutes that was very positive. Conor Gallagher was instrumental there, so hard to fault Gallagher too much. I thought he had a good game. And then Enzo Fernandez, to me this wasn't Enzo's best game. I do feel there is a bit of fatigue from Enzo Fernandez after that international break. He's played so much for Chelsea. He played a few games for Argentina. It's a long journey, it's a long plane trip, then to come back and be chucked in it at the deep end when Chelsea are struggling. Wasn't his best game, and he started the season so brightly, so active, making so many good passes. He sort of lost a bit of his tempo. Yeah, he moves the ball around quickly, but he didn't quite have those killer passes that we've grown to see from Enzo. They were missing today. Nico Jackson was making a few good runs. Enzo wasn't finding him. I just think it was a mixed performance from Enzo, not his strongest. And he did come off early as well. Obviously, when Chelsea did go down to 10 men, he did look like he was struggling after a knock he received, and he just wasn't fully at it today. Wasn't necessarily the reason why we didn't score goals. Going to get onto that very shortly, but he did his bit. He made some good passes, but probably not one of his shining performances. Now, the forwards, Mykhailo Mudryk, Raheem Sterling and Nicholas Jackson through the middle. These three, I felt, really amongst them, they clearly are Pochettino's go-to now. I think Sterling is very highly trusted by Mauricio Pochettino. Nicholas Jackson is, of course, starting every game. We've got no option. Yes, Brozier is back. He came on, he made a little appearance. But it looks like Raheem Sterling and Nicholas Jackson are definitely favoured. And Mudryk is getting a bit of game time. He's getting the run at the mill. Now, I want to start with Mudryk because I thought he was very, very positive in that first half and that sort of first 50 minutes. Yes, he made he attempted to go around players a few times. It didn't always come off for him, but he made some great runs. He was, tricky. He was trying to move the ball around amongst his feet. He was trying to link up with players. And what I've noticed game in when I see Mudryk start or when I see him play is he links up very well with Jackson. Those two are on the same page. There's a bit of chemistry. There's positive chemistry there from Jackson and Mudryk. Mudryk found Jackson in the first half brilliantly with a sort of no-look pass, cut it across, and Jackson really might have done better in hindsight. It was a good save from Emi Martinez, but Mudryk was bright. He took players on. He had Matty Cash absolutely on the ropes a few moments in that game. He did lose the ball at times when he was trying to beat players, but that's what I want to see. The confidence to try is what we're lacking. And especially on the left side, which has been so void, we've been struggling on that left to create any chances. This was probably Chelsea's better side because the right side has been largely dominant when Chelsea have gone forward. It has been Gusto and Sterling that have linked up well, but I thought Mudryk really made a good case for himself today, and even Colwill bombed down the left and got forward quite a bit. I thought Colwill had a really good game. Was unfortunate for the goal, but I thought Colwill sort of supported Mudryk in that sort of left channel, and we know that's not Colwill's natural position, not his natural means to go forward in that way. But I felt that Mudryk really felt a lot more comfortable going forward and creating opportunities. And I was very pleased with Mudryk. It was a shame he had to come off. He was the first player to be sacrificed. But I think given 90 minutes, we might have seen some moments there. But positive, I think Mudryk is growing a little bit in confidence. He's starting games. It could happen. It could happen, And I think Chelsea fans got behind him quite a bit because they saw some things to be encouraged by. Mudryk, I thought, had a good game. Now, on the right, Raheem Sterling, for me, this was one of those games where it's just frustrating to watch. He couldn't get the ball out of his feet quick enough. He didn't make the right passes quick enough. He linked up with Gusto well. I thought Gusto wasn't as good going forward today as he usually is. I think maybe Aston Villa sort of doubled up on that right-hand side because they know that is our main source of threat, is Gusto, is Sterling. Sterling didn't quite have the luck running past players. And it just wasn't convincing down that right-hand side. Everything got a bit crowded. They didn't move the ball around quick enough. And we had a lot of space on the left. and we did well and we created chances on the left. I think that teams are realising that that is probably our only threat, is the right-hand side, is Raheem Sterling. He likes to take players on. He is quick. He's difficult to deal with, but it was a performance that sort of wasn't quite good enough today. And I thought Raza once again found himself in some great opportunities and just is not level-headed enough to make the right decision, to shoot. He just lacks that killer instinct, as so many players at Chelsea do at the moment. But I wasn't convinced there, and I think Raheem Sterling has played pretty much every game for Chelsea in that area. And I think now Noni Madueke is back. I would like to see Noni in that role. I need to see a bit more flair. I need to see a bit more creativity, because I think Sterling is sort of struggling a little bit. And I also felt that his attitude towards at the end of the game, when there was 11 minutes added, I didn't see him and we were a goal down. I just felt like he wasn't really showing the body language of a player who wanted to get back into the game. I just felt that he had given up. He knew we were going to lose. I think every Chelsea fan knows on TV and in the stadium, we were pretty much resigned to the idea of winning. But you don't want to see that from the players, and I felt that from Raheem Sterling, and it was disappointing for him. Nicholas Jackson, there's been a lot of chat in the week about how Pochettino spoke to him about the yellow cards, about his game. Again, it's really hard for me to fault Jackson. I think that he does so much well. He's a nuisance. And I'm watching a lot of other players in the Premier League at the moment, a lot of other strikers. A lot's been made of Højlund at Man United, and a lot of other strikers in the Prem. And honestly, Jackson passes the eye test for me. Like, he's so much busier. He's so much more of a handful than these other strikers that have been, 70, 80 million pounds worth. I think Jackson is really, really a good player and a good striker. That being said, he is raw. He's very raw. And also, when you think about Jackson and Brozier, there's not too much in between them. Like, I would maybe put Brozier ahead because he's got that Premier League experience. He has bagged goals for Southampton. But I kind of like what Jackson does, physically. He's really difficult. He gets in all the defenders' faces. He's a nuisance to play against. He's lacking that finish. He really should have done better with Mudrik's no-look pass into feet. Couple of opportunities as well. Header, he glanced wide. It's just not quite happening for him. He's in the right positions, which is promising, and that does give you the hope that he will bag a goal or two. But Chelsea are just really not flowing, and Jackson isn't quite got that killer instinct at the moment, and there's a lot of pressure around the 22-year-old to produce. But this game was, again, one of those ones where he probably should have took his chance. Perhaps in form, when he does get a bit of a purple patch, he will take those chances, but it wasn't great. Now, the substitutes that come on, I want to mention, because I do feel that there were promising players there that came on and showed impact, and there were some players that came on that didn't really bring a lot to the game. And I'll start with the man that came on that did make an impact, was Cole Palmer. As soon as Cole Palmer comes on, he is busy. He's drifting inside. He's trying to drag players in. He's dropping the shoulder. He's pinging balls out to the wings. Pings one out for another substitute, Ben Chilwell, who has got to do better. I know Ben Chilwell is a fullback. I know he's not a striker, but we know Ben Chilwell can be in and amongst the goals. One-on-one opportunity. We've got to tuck it away. 1-0 down. Right after they score, this is a goal. This needs to be converted. We miss. And that's just the story at the moment. Doesn't matter how many chances we put in front of goal, we cannot take our chances. Ben Chilwell miss was a big one. But Cole Palmer was positive. Showed the right attitude. Applied himself as soon as he came on. Ben Chilwell also was bright when he came on. There's something not right with Ben Chilwell at the moment. There's something that isn't quite right. I don't know what it is. It's just not looking like a fit player. Is he playing with an injury? He just looks like he's not quite comfortable. Could be positionally, could be fitness. Something isn't quite right with Ben Chilwell. He doesn't seem to be gliding along the pitch as he usually does. He seems to be frustrated. Maybe he's frustrated by the disappointing results Chelsea have been having. Maybe he's been frustrated by playing out of position and having opportunities and not scoring them. Whatever it is, you can see the frustration on Chilwell's face, and it's not good. It's not good. When I see Ian Maatsen on the bench, I think, what's this guy got to do to get some minutes? Because that is a player, a hungry player I want to see come on. I thought Chilwell did well when he came on, but missing that opportunity, I beg the question, would Ian Maatsen have missed it? Would he have been in that position? It's a lot of ifs and buts, but something's not right with Ben Chilwell at the moment. And, given Cucurella and his history at Chelsea so far, I need to be seeing Ian Maatsen come on. I need to see Maatsen more. And down that left-hand side, where we were so bright in the first half, the second half, it was just wasteful. Very wasteful. Leslie Ugochukwu comes on, and big physical presence. I think he was sort of brought in after going down to 10 men to sort of, give us a bit of presence, so we wouldn't get overrun in midfield. He was sloppy, very sloppy today. I think, there were a few challenges he won, and he won well, but then he was always second best to the second ball. And he sort of showed a bit of nonchalance. He wasn't quite, have that attitude, have that fire in the belly. He looked a bit lethargic out there, and that's not what you want to see. Leslie is a weird one because I didn't know too much about him. I didn't even know if he would really be a part of this Chelsea squad. I thought that was a shoe-in to go to Strasbourg, the other Bowley owned company, but football team rather. But he's starting, he's getting minutes. I thought he was decent against Bournemouth, but this game wasn't great. Wasn't impressed by his cameo off the bench, especially when we needed to be far more positive and sort of put our body on the line more. Didn't quite see that from Leslie. I thought he was a bit sloppy. And then, of course, last but not least, it was the return of Armando Broja, who, it's hard to really make an assessment of Broja. He came on when the game was very difficult for him to get involved in. He was just sort of going to be a presence up top, try and run anything down, try and create any half chance. He did get in a good goal scoring opportunity in the second half. He didn't take it. Can't be too harsh on him. He looked a bit out of shape though. I'm not sure if that's just me or, perhaps the way the shirt fitted. I thought there was a bit of extra weight there on Broja, but he's going to take time. Nicholas Jackson's going to miss the next game for his foolish yellow card. I mean, I thought it was harsh, actually, to give it. He looked like it wasn't as intentional as some of his other yellow cards were. But Broja is going to be starting our next game. We've got Brighton midweek. This is worrying. It is worrying. I would have taken a 0-0 draw gladly today, and I would have made this video with a lot more optimism, would have been far more positive about the result. I would have said to you, expectations are low. We needed to lower our expectations. 0-0 to Aston Villa, who are, a good team under Unai Emery, is good. Perhaps we should beat them because they've gone into Europe midweek. They should be tired, but 0-0 draw, I'll take it. Positives. 1-0 at home, 10 men, it's not positive. It's not positive. Expectations are still low. I won't throw my toys out the pram yet. There's nothing that can be done. I would love to create solutions and wax lyrical about what we should be doing more of. There is nothing we can do more. All we have to do is game by game, painfully watch Chelsea, be second best and play teams that we are far greater than and not get the result. And that is what this season is going to be about. I'm far more optimistic about the second half of this season. Losing games cannot be something we get used to here. That's 3 games we've lost now. Nottingham Forest, West Ham and Aston Villa. Mid-table teams. It's not good enough. I'm not falling for the midweek social media antics anymore. I'm not falling for any of it. I'm not falling for the first 20-30 minutes of good football that Chelsea play, knocking around the ball, creating chances, the rhythm. I'm not falling for any of it because we've seen this game play out time and time again. This exact result, this exact performance. All right, maybe not going down to 10 men. That might be the only sort of excuse we can make about this game. But that very could have we could be talking about the same result had we had 11 men on the pitch. You know, it's not a guarantee we would have got something from this game with 11 men on the pitch. I would have liked to have thought we would have come away with a draw, but no guarantees in this league. No guarantees with Chelsea at the moment. The storm clouds are brewing. The storm clouds are brewing. It's not for Pochettino, who I think is doing all he can to try and find a harmony, ease this team, but we can't be losing games of football. We can't be conceding goals. Guys, I'm very upset. I'm very upset. I'm sure you are. Please like this video if you haven't done so already. It's the only sort of positive I can take is sort of, you know, knowing that you like the content I'm making. Subscribe to the channel. Seeing more Chelsea fans, talking to more Chelsea fans is, again, one of the few positives I can take at the moment. And hearing your thoughts in the comment box. I want to hear what you think, hear about your frustrations, hear about what you think about the personnel, the squad, the system, the tactics. Didn't really delve into any of that today because it was just 10 against 11 and classic Chelsea not finishing their chances. But guys, I'll make maybe an in-depth video later in the week, but I want to know